Al McFarlane. Welcome to The Conversation with Al McFarlane. I'm glad to be here and glad to have you along as well. Today is Monday, May 8th, 2023. What a wonderful, great, beautiful weekend and day that's ahead of us here in Minnesota. We hope it's the same wherever you are around the country, around the world. Before I begin, I'll let you know what's coming up. Great show, as I always promise, a robust conversation. And today will be especially, I think, rich and informing and enlightening. I've got two great guests. Lisa Lissamore is retired Associate Director of the Minnesota State High School League, and she's talking about an upcoming event, the Young Women's Issues Forum, that is sponsored by the Minneapolis and St. Paul chapter of the Links Incorporated. We'll talk about that. And then we'll be joined by our regular CoachLeah, sports editor for Inside News, host of After the Whistle, the new podcast, and she's talking about NBA Africa and more. The beauty of the day will be the time we hang out with both CoachLeah and Lisa Lissamore, two giants in the arena of both education, sports, motivation, and just have a conversation about the world as they see it, the world that they have created, and the world that they are creating for the future. Well, before I begin, I want to invite you to, no matter where you are, support this program by going over to the Inside News YouTube channel and subscribing, be a subscriber. Now, we are on several platforms. We're on the Black Press USA YouTube channel. We're on the Inside News YouTube channel. We're on Twitter. We're on Facebook, and we're on LinkedIn. You could be connecting from any of those places. One request, before the show is over or after the show, mosey on over online to YouTube, to the Inside News channel, and subscribe. That helps us grow numbers, and we want to reach subscribers. Our goal is to get 1,000 subscribers. We're on the way, and your action today helps us get in that direction. Well, as always, we want to start with what we call the hot topics, and we've got a couple that are important, one kind of national, one kind of local. We go first to Afro Tech publication, a story they've published today, I believe, that talks about, actually the story of today, a piece by Samantha Dorsica, that's her name, and the headline is that there's a race to take control of BET. And it says that in a latest update, it's rumored that 50 Cent, Shaquille O'Neal, and Kenya Barris are interested in purchasing stakes in BET. According to TMZ, sources closely involved in the matter mentioned 50 Cent and Barris were seen at Paramount's headquarters in New York City to discuss the potential sale. As of this writing, it is unclear whether their offer will be accepted. However, a source noted, it's not a done deal, but they're deep in it. 50 Cent also wrote, let's play, make a deal on Instagram. Well, you know, that's kind of cool. That's really amazing. So this group, Shaquille, Kenya, and 50 Cent are working with a group called Group Black CVC Capital and Authentic Brands to put together the deal to become the owner of BET, I think it is. So, you know, their interest follows news that Tyler Perry is also looking to acquire as big a stake as possible in BET. And Perry told Entertainment Tonight that the rumor is not a rumor, it's true. He said he's been around waiting for something like this to happen, and he wants to be a part of it if he can make it happen. So the other person, Byron Allen, obviously another media mogul. So what's going to happen? We'll see. Well, let me turn to the other hot topic today, and that is closer to home. And if you look at the Inside News webpage, insidenews.com, you'll see a story called Purple Lanes, Minnesota Highway Signs to Honor Prince. It's a piece by Steve Karnowski in the Associated Press, published on Friday, I think it was Friday, May 5th. And it says the late pop superstar Prince will have a highway named after him here in his home state, following a vote by Minnesota lawmakers last Thursday. The Senate vote was 55-5 to rename the highway that runs past Paisley Park Museum and Studios. Among those watching this signing of the bill or of the vote in the Senate was Sharon Nelson. That's Prince's older sister. The bill passed the House earlier in the month on the 7th anniversary of his death, and now it goes to Governor Tim Walz, who's expected to sign it. So purple signs are going to go up along a 7-mile stretch of Highway 5 in the Minneapolis suburbs of Chanhassen and Eden Prairie, designating that stretch as Prince Rogers Nelson Memorial Highway. Prince's friends and fans are footing the bill, said the lead sponsor, Republican Senator Julia Coleman of Waconia. Finally, the story just acknowledges that Prince was a true genius, a visionary artist who pushed the boundaries of music and cultures in ways that will never be forgotten. That quote from Senator Coleman. Prince died at Paisley Park on April 21, 2016, of an accidental fentanyl overdose. He was 57 years old. The 65,000 square foot complex in Chanhassen is now a museum run by his estate, as well as an event venue and a recording studio. Sharon Nelson told reporters that her brother's music will live forever and that his spirit sneaks up on me sometimes. And so she urges fans to take the tour and see his items, including 3,000 shoes that are on display there. Well, kudos to Prince, and we're coming up on June as Black Music Month as well in a bit, and we all take time to celebrate Prince and all the other genius musicians that come out of Minnesota. Very nice, very nice. Well, let me move to our first topic of today and introduce my guest, Lisa Lissamore. Lisa Lissamore, as I said, is the retired associate director of the Minnesota State High School League. And I've asked her here to share information on the upcoming Young Women's Issues Forum. This is an event sponsored by the Minneapolis and St. Paul chapter of the Links Incorporated. The project targets young women who are in grades 6 through 12, and it aims to provide a safe and supportive space for African American girls. Lisa, so good to see you. Welcome to the conversation. How you doing?
I am doing just fine, Al, and thank you so much for having us and providing us with this opportunity, having me rather, and providing me with this opportunity to talk about this wonderful event that's coming up next Saturday, 6 days from now.
Sure. Well, let's tell about the event. What's the purpose of the event, and how can people support it? But talk about purpose first. Why this event?
Well, you know what, Al, we have girls that are all over the Twin Cities and now outside of the Twin Cities. And in some cases, they don't have a safe place to talk about issues that are unique to their or our experience.
Mm-hmm.
And so many years ago, I'd say, oh my goodness, well over 25 years ago, the Links started this program as part of the debutante activity. And then in 1992, Pam Alexander and Linda Keene extended the program to include young women from all over the 7-county metro area. And again, it provides a safe and supportive space for young women, African American women specifically, to come together to discuss issues of common concern, and in that process to learn relevant tools or strategies for dealing with the things that they are faced with as part of their development.
So, what do you think are the common challenges that students face? And I don't know if you have any details, but just in general, what do young women have to deal with in society, and what Black women in particular have to navigate in order to, be successful?
I think showing up as their authentic selves is huge. I think that, we live in a world where it is very difficult to be the best version of you, especially when there are so many things out there telling us how to dress, how to look, how to act, how to talk. And so even to be able to be their authentic selves is an achievement all by itself. And so that is what we're trying to do with this program, is to empower them, making them aware that they can choose their own path, whatever path that is. We want to, through this event, put what could potentially be role models in front of them, Al, showing them that, hey, we can be CEOs of companies, we can start our own companies and build them. So in other words, we can be entrepreneurs. We can, what else do I want to say about it? We can run companies, be a part of a company, and be all our authentic selves. And that's what we do with this program is we bring many women into this fold to show them all of the things that are possible out here. So we're really creating visions of possibilities, providing them with examples of excellence in building out this program and being so inclusive of other African-American women leaders here in the Twin Cities.
Take a minute, if you would, Lisa, this morning, talk about the important role of the Links. The Links is a powerful national, I think international organization that has delivered again and again to the improvement of Black women, Black girls, but to Black culture, I say to the American culture as well. Talk about the Links so people know how important an organization it is.
Sure. Well, I've been a Link since 2003, and so that's 19 years now. And one of the things that made the Link so attractive is the work that they have done since 1946, if you will, with their 17,000 professional women of African descent. And there are 299 chapters throughout the United States, the Bahamas, and the United Kingdom. And we are headquartered in DC. And again, we were founded in 1946. And most of the things that we do are through what we call facets. And our facets include services to youth, which is the facet that is coordinating the Young Women's Issues Forum. We have arts, the arts facet, and that is for the purpose of introducing young people to the arts. And most recently, the Minneapolis St. Paul chapter Links had an outing at the Guthrie where they took up to 80 people over to watch the Pearl Cleave play that was there. And we've also had virtual film activity for young people as well over the past 2 years. We also have a health and human services facet. And again, most recently, we had a forum about heart and kidney health and something that needs to be talked about with our community. And that was held back in February over at Fellowship Missionary Baptist, and then Baptist Church, that is. And then also there's the National Trends Committee. And we, in March, participated in the African Heritage Day at the Links. So we're all about doing whatever it is that needs to be done to sustain our communities and to remind people to get out to vote, to support legislators who are doing some really important work at our state capitol and also, legislatures across the country. So a lot of work that focuses on African Americans and the communities in which we live.
Lisa, I often ask my guests to tell their personal stories, and I'm going to do the same thing to you, put you on the spot a little bit, but I know that you'll enjoy this. I know that you are a proud product of the Rondo community in St. Paul. And I think that Rondo continues to evolve and to rediscover itself, to rebuild itself, to reemerge as a symbol of resilience. Even against the odds, and as a testament to our people. Talk about your own personal background as a Rondo resident, and I'm interested in also celebrating, toasting you for your 35-year career, 34 years at the high school league. Talk about that as well.
Well, Al, you're right. I am a proud product of the Rondo community, and really find it unusual that I don't live there right now. But, I'm married, and my husband at the time had a job that was in Wisconsin. And so we had to move over to the territory that he served. So here I am sitting in Woodbury, but you can best believe I'm in Rondo day in and day out. It was a wonderful place to grow up. What I like most about having lived in that community is that I truly had a village that really worked with me to become the person that I am today. Oftentimes when I'm in settings where I talk about my athletic experience, and keep in mind that I am pre-Title IX, if you will, and most women my age did not have the opportunities to participate in sports. And that's generally their story, how they had to play on their brothers' teams or tuck their ponytails in a hat in their baseball caps and play on boys' teams. Well, that never was my experience because of the folks in the Rondo community who made sure that there were as many opportunities for girls as there were for boys to participate in sports. So we, as women growing up in the Rondo community, had our own sports programs. We competed against other female team athletic teams. We had our own uniforms, our own coaches, our own gym time, and that is very unusual. And not only did this community help support us or provide us with athletic opportunities, but there were leaders like the Kwame McDonalds, the Debbie Montgomerys, the Jim Robinsons that opened doors for us. It is just incredible. I mean, from an academic standpoint, they made us aware of different opportunities that were available to us that we needed to be a part of. Just you name it. I met Mahmoud El Kate when I was 10 years old, if you can believe that. And he was a guest speaker at my classroom. And, from there, I became very, from him and his presentations, I became very much interested at age 10 in learning about us as a people and the difference that we have made in American history. And it's things like that, I don't know that everyone experiences that here in Minnesota, but that has been my life experience. I was aware of the Black National Anthem. I was singing the Black National Anthem when I was 10 years old. We had great educators, Shirley Kaiser, Rhoda Stroud, Anita Spencer. I can't believe I'm calling them by their first and last names, but individuals such as that, Dolores Henderson, who, made it a point to teach us about African-American history and made us read books. And we would sing songs that were written, by African-American artists. So we were exposed to that at such a young age. And I just don't believe, well, I know firsthand that that's not always the experience that young people have today living here in Minnesota.
So your personal story, you're born and raised in St. Paul. Talk about your family a little bit. I'm curious, what is the genealogy that pours into the making of Lisa Lissamore?
Boy, you know what? My family is from Valdosta, Georgia. And one of my aunts, great aunt, that is Linda Roberts' mother, another great athlete here, from the Rondo community, who has her jersey hanging from the rafters of Williams Arena. But anyway, Linda's father was in the military here. And so my grandfather drove my aunt here to Minnesota. And while here, he took on a couple of jobs to make money to really drive back to Georgia to go home to his family. And the job opportunities were so great that he managed to stay along with my aunt and uncle and their family. And then the other 5 siblings of my aunt, slowly but surely migrated north to be here because of the job opportunities that were here. And so my family, again, hails from Valdosta, Georgia, came here in the 50s. I believe my mother was 11 or 12 years old. She's attended all of the Rondo schools here, from McKinley to Marshall to Mechanic Arts, and lived in Rondo proper before the freeway came through and disrupted, the housing in the community on that side of St. Paul. So we have gone through, all of that that experience of having our homes demolished as a result of the freeway, and knowing all of the Black businesses and what a vibrant community that Rondo was before the construction of 94.
Talk about your career at the high school league. It says a lot, probably about the environment for you to be there for 34 years, number one. What were the highlights? What jobs did you do over the course of that career? How did the jobs change or evolve? And if you reflect, what were the points of keen satisfaction
Sure.
that kept you there? Talk about that.
Mhm. You know what? So I mentioned earlier, about the village keepers, if you will, the Jim Robinsons, the Frank White, Stevie Winfield. I forgot to mention him too, the Debbie Montgomerys, the Kwame McDonalds, the Bobby Hickmans of the world. These folks, I remember having worked at the legislature, which I did before joining the high school league staff. And I also coached women's basketball 1 year at my alma mater, St. Paul Central, and then 5 years at the University of St. Thomas. And in each of those jobs, it was Kwame and others that opened the door for me to walk into those spaces. And so while working at the legislature, obviously there are some co-ed teams, softball and other activities that I was a part of. And one of the individuals that I played on the softball team with, he took on a job at another educational entity that had the opportunity to assign a minority representative to the Minnesota State High School League's board of directors. And he came over one day and asked if I would like to sit on the high school league's board of directors. And he thought that I was just a great candidate because of my athletic background, so on and so forth. And I kind of looked at him and said, what? Because the only thing I knew about the Minnesota State High School League were the medals that I had achieved when winning the first girls state basketball tournament and then playing in that tournament throughout my high school career. And so I have certificates and medals that feature the name, but obviously as a kid, you really don't care who's sponsoring the tournament. All you want to do is play. So having served on the board for 1 year, and during that time, there was an opening on the staff. And fortunately, the people in the village, number one, voluntold me that I was going to A, serve on the board, and B, that you better apply for this job that's, coming up. And I don't know what they did in the background, but somehow or another, I managed to get through all of the interviewing processes and was named the associate director of the Minnesota State High School League. And quite honestly, Al, I never thought I would work in administration. In athletic administration. I always thought that I would be a coach. And I also thought that I would be a sports writer, are the two things that I really wanted to do. And so moving into the athletic administration was new to me. And I will have to say it was a dream job because I never dreamed of doing that work. Sure. And the highlights, I'd say, have been working for the organization, becoming its first African-American person to ever work in that space, and then only the second woman to be a part of their executive team, and managing and running the girls' state high school basketball tournament. So I did manage athletic tournaments, but the highlight was managing that tournament because obviously I enjoyed it because I played in it and I love the sport of basketball as well. And then in that role of managing tournaments, being able to bring others along. We have a host of African-American and other people of color that now work at our state high school league tournaments, being able to provide a pathway for people to be a part of some of the committees that we host. So those were some of the highlights. And one of the things that I did for the league was to also create or design some recognition programs, a set for students, but also managing the State High School League's Hall of Fame. And so having 6, I believe, individuals from the Rondo community sit in that hall was an awesome experience for me. And so I did those were part of my responsibilities. And my last responsibility was managing the high school league sponsorship, sales, and marketing. So a full plate of a lot of different things that allowed me to connect with a lot of different people, corporate America with respect to the sponsorship, sales, and marketing, and then, loving the opportunity to work with young people, which is another aspiring thing with working with the links and serving on the services to youth facet and managing and directing and creating a Young Women's Issues Forum. It all pulls together and really satisfies my soul and allows me to work what I believe in my purpose, to be quite honest with you.
Let me ask you to focus on your athletic career. A great career, but give us the highlights. In fact, how did you discover both your ability, capability, and nurture the desire to be the best in your approach to athletics?
Al, it's interesting that I can't believe I didn't start this way. It all started with my transferring to another school as a third grader. And at that school, I managed to befriend some of the most athletic young women I have ever met. They could do anything, run, jump, shoot, you name it, kickball, hit a softball, you name it. And again, I moved into an area of St. Paul where I was able to frequent a recreation center where, again, there were all these opportunities that were available for girls. So I was able to, again, at a very young age, go down to the recreation center and play. And then when I became, by the time I attended junior high school, I was a pretty good basketball player. That's the sport that I did fall in love with, although I did run track and I played softball and tried a little bit of volleyball, but basketball was the one thing that I fell in love with. I also played flag football. I should share that with you. That was the first sport that I participated in. But I fell in love with this basketball thing. And honestly, I was in the library at my middle school or junior high school, as it was referred to then. And the librarian turned me on to this publication called a magazine called Women in Sports. And in that publication, which I read from cover to cover, I saw an article that shared it had a listing of all the different athletic scholarships that were available for women. And I, at the time, was unaware that you could go to college on an athletic scholarship. And so it was at that point that I set a goal for myself to get an athletic scholarship to go to college. And so it was that goal that I had made in 8th grade that really has kind of guided me through just about everything. And if you think about goal setting, we have to learn that skill set early on, and then we have to have success. And it really did happen for me. Set the goal, and I'll tell you, I tried not to do anything that would disrupt that. And again, that's something else that if you learn that at a young age, I mean, that helps.
Focus,
the discipline, right? The focus, all of it.
Yeah.
And that's what happened. And so it was that goal that was set in 8th grade that has pretty much carried me through, my high school career, and then obviously the collegiate career, because I did go to school on a scholarship. I went to Grandview University, which is in Des Moines, Iowa, had a very, very successful career there. Didn't care much for the school, disappointed me to some degree as it relates to the social side of things, because they were transitioning from a junior college to a 4-year college my freshman year. And so they didn't have the luxury of sororities and all those kinds of things. And quite frankly, the Black students that were on campus were athletes. And so it just didn't really sit well with me there. So I decided when I came home on my spring break that I would make an attempt to transfer to the University of Minnesota. And so I did when I was a sophomore. And then once there, if I had really done my homework, I would not have transferred, because they already had a lot of guards, which was the position that I played. And not only did I play a guard, I played the point guard. That was the best position for me with my skill sets. I wasn't a very good 2 guard. I was a playmaker is what I was. And they had those individuals. And if I had done my homework, I would not have transferred, because it would not have been a good time for me to have transferred. But I did. And I, played, the first half of the season. I had pretty decent playing time. And then as things went on, I didn't. And so I always like to tease the folks over at the university that they didn't appreciate my skill sets. And so I left Grandview on good terms. And again, that fifth grade teacher of mine, Miss Stroud, made a way for me to go back there. And so that's what I did. And I knew what to expect. And so I managed my expectations, and I managed to finish out my career there. Was captain 2 times there. We had great teams when I returned my junior and senior years, and we were ranked, in the top 10 nationally. And so it really was a good experience. And once again, an experience about resilience, lessons on resiliency, lessons on perseverance, all those kinds of things, that life is not always going to be what you expect it to be, but somehow you have to put yourself in survival mode and just do what you came there to do, which for me was to get a college degree in a space where I wanted to be, and to play college basketball. So that's what I did. And it took some maturing, and that was another level, another learning experience. And that was maturing, and understanding, once again, that things aren't always going to be the way you think they're going to be. And you have to manage your expectations. And again, just do what you came there to do. And that's what I did. And that was, that was always my messaging when I talk to young people about things. My son in particular, who's now a student, a freshman, just completing his freshman year over at St. Thomas. And he followed the same path, in working very, very hard in both the classroom and on the court to get an athletic scholarship. And he did so. And as you know, St. Thomas has moved from Division III to Division I. So that transition is not easy. So he's, as I tell him, learn the lessons that come with the experience. And that's what he's done. So it's been quite interesting. And
what a wonderful story. I could listen to you all day, because everything you say is full of lessons that keep unfolding.
Yes.
Keep unfolding, right? I mean, everything
New
is almost
chapters.
at the parable level. So it's wonderful. So wonderful.
Yeah.
Let's do this. Let's have you once again make people aware of the special event, of the links coming up this weekend, and how can people support things like this in the future. And, you may have some other events that you're doing that you should use this opportunity to promote.
Sure.
And after that, I'm going to bring in Coach Leah for her regular report. But after that, I'm going to bring you back in, because I want to sit and listen to 2 of you talk, because I know it's going to be good.
Well, I appreciate that, Al. And just a reminder to your audience that, on this coming Saturday, May 13th, from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m. Central Time, that we will be, the Links will be conducting the Young Women's Issues Forum. And we have the most dynamic speaker who will be guiding the girls through an interactive session on self-love, emotional wellness, and financial management, trying to make sense out of sense, right? And that is Miss Nita Miss Nita Kellogg. And Nita is the founder and the executive director of Project Diva. And she has been working for the past 14 years, mentoring and coaching our young women to be who they want to be and to live the life that they envision for themselves. And then in addition to that, the students will participate in breakout sessions that will be led by some of the most dynamic corporate and civic leaders in this community. And they will have an opportunity to tell a little bit about themselves, their career, and their leadership journey. But the greatest of all things there is that the young women will be able to ask questions. Who were your role models? How did you choose your career profession? What made you want to do these kinds of things? And we're talking about women, like I said earlier, who are leading corporations, who have their own businesses, who work for the Minnesota Twins. I mean, it's a variety of folks from a variety of different backgrounds. And so it's going to be a magnificent virtual experience for young people. And if there's still time to register for the event. It is free. And you can register by going to the Minneapolis St. Paul links website, and the information will pop up immediately as soon as you get onto the website. And again, like I said, it is free, and girls from anywhere can, from everywhere, I should say, can be a part of the Young Women's Issues Forum. And this will probably be the last time that we do this virtually. We will soon, I believe next year, go back to our in-person forum, which is, again, another great opportunity for young women.
Well, God willing, and the creek don't rise, as they say. We are getting beyond COVID. Take a minute. I know you got an exciting golf project coming up as well. Mention that if you would.
Yeah. So my husband, Dennis Blue, is an avid golfer. And when he moved to the Twin Cities, he recognized that there is not a 2-day stroke play tournament here, golf tournament that is, here in Minnesota. And he just felt, we have to do this because Minnesota deserves this type of thing. And so Dennis, along with myself and many other golfers, Lynette Landry is one worth naming, and there are others, and I don't want to shortchange anyone, but Lynette Landry is a great golfer here in the Twin Cities. And so there's a group of us, about 8 of us, that work to sponsor what is called the Twin Cities Par Seekers Golf Tournament. And this is the 8th year that we've done this. And this year's tournament is June 24th and 25th. And it's a 36-hole 2-day tournament that will be held at Majestic Oaks Golf Club in Ham Lake, Minnesota. And each year we find a different charitable organization to make a donation to. And this year's entity will be Girls Taking Action, which again is another program that provides mentoring, coaching, and programming for African American girls. And this program is run by Dr. Verna Price. And it's again one of those passions that I have for supporting Project Diva and Girls Taking Action, who are really, both entities are doing the things that providing the programming that we need for our girls. And so this year we're looking at making a donation to Girls Taking Action. So I believe you guys have an email address that folks can use to get information about the Par Seekers tournament, which again is coming up June 24th and 25th. So we appreciate you allowing us to share information about that tournament as well. Awesome. And we will have golfers from all over we will have some golfers too. Richard Coffey plays in the tournament, but we will have golfers from throughout the upper Midwest, That's great. So it's usually a fun time.
Awesome. Let me bring in a person who you're not a stranger to, who you and she go back, and that's our own Insight News sports editor, CoachLeah Jean. CoachLeah, how you doing, my friend? Good to see you. Welcome back.
Hello, and thank you so much. Happy day, everybody. What an amazing conversation so far, Al. Oh my gosh, it's so great.
It's just going to keep elevating because you're here now as well. Let me just turn it over to you to give the sports update. You're talking about basketball in Africa, right?
So yes, so I was up Saturday morning and turned on ESPN and was thrilled to see that logo at center court, and to see that Africa was having their playoffs as well. And it just warmed my spirit. I just felt an overwhelming sense of pride, overwhelming sense of accomplishment for the gentlemen that have taken on starting NBA Africa. And like I said, they were having their playoffs. And so, I'm looking from a different perspective as well, looking at the level of play, looking at the level of competition, looking to see if these players are legit pros, which ones are legit pros, which could possibly play in the NBA in the United States. And again, it just was a great brand of basketball. So I want to encourage folks to check out NBA Africa, and it's going to be really easy to do because it's shown on ESPN, and again, it's their playoffs being shown right now, being televised right now. But the backstory behind that is back in 2019, the NBA partnered with a nonprofit organization out of Africa, founded in Senegal, to bring something that has a literacy aspect, a community building aspect, and an academic aspect, the things that I hold dearly, bring those things to Africa, to the young people in Africa. And I forgot to turn my ringer off. Sorry, but anyway, and to see that program grew and allowed for them to now have such a high level of competition that they would have several teams, have a whole league, and now have a playoff there in Africa and all over the continent. So yeah, it was very exciting to see that. And then I loved seeing that logo in the middle of the floor.
Well, so the question is, you brought it up. What did you discover is the level of play? Is it pro level? Is it world class? What's the promise? What do you think is going to evolve? Because at one level, it seems like basketball Africa, no brainer. Of course, basketball Africa. We also know that football Africa, football meaning soccer, Africa is into it. Africa is a young continent, young people. And so the future really is Africa and Africans. So from the basketball NBA perspective, what are you observing so far, and what do you think is going to evolve?
That's a whole lot. That I see where the opportunities are endless.
Mm-hmm.
The opportunities are endless because when now we've always had where there were athletes in Africa that felt that their best opportunity was to come to the United States for education. Mm-hmm. But if they really wanted to play at the next level, they had to come to the United States. Mm-hmm. Now they're finding that that's not necessarily the case, and that they have world-class training, world-class facilities, world-class competition on the African continent. And so I really feel like it will force in my opinion, it will force the NBA to expand. Mm. If the NBA America to expand, it will provide more opportunities on the Euro League, within the Euro League, to have more competition at a very high level there as well. Because what many people don't understand is just because the person goes overseas to play ball, that they're playing at the highest level. There are several levels to that play as well. But the pro players get paid. And we can get into a whole nother conversation about that, especially on the women's side, another time. But again, that expands the opportunities for the professional basketball players to have a career and earn a living doing something that they love. And so I foresee that NBA Africa, again, is going to force the NBA to expand.
Okay. What else is on your mind sports-wise?
Well, I wanted to talk a little bit about my adventures doing the Women's Final Four,
sure.
An organization that I co-founded with Sylvia Crawley-Spann called Tall Girls United. We partnered with the WNBA for an ancillary event called Tall Girls United, our Wellness, Wealth, and Winning Ultimate Brunch. And what you see there is LaChina Robinson of ESPN, and then you also see Alicia J next to her. And Alicia J was the young lady that I mentioned who interviewed the owners of Sports Bra, the sports bar out in Seattle. And so that picture there shows just beautiful women. There were only 4 women in that picture that were under 6'2", only 4. Wow. Everybody else at that event that attended were just tall, beautiful, talented, amazing women. And you'll find that whenever you get a lot of us in one place, that it's the energy in that room is just, it's unexplainable. We try to articulate it in words, and it's impossible. It's just impossible. But we all just love on each other, and we're able to just have conversations that really we all have experienced what each other has experienced, I guess is for lack of a better way to say that. And so it's really nice to be able to get together and brunch. And what I wanted to also say about that is, so during our ultimate brunch, because we have local brunches and we're wanting to, through Tall Girls United, unite tall girls and tall women and tall girl brands globally. And what we mean by that is we don't necessarily want to be an organization, but we would love for people to know that Tall Girls United is a place where you can find information about other tall girls, other tall women, things that pertain to us, primarily fashion. That's a big deal for us. But we had a panel discussion during our brunch, and I wanted just to mention that again. So LaChina Robinson from ESPN was our host and moderator. She did an amazing job. And we had a panel of subject matter experts. Our conference is called Wellness, Wealth, and Winning Conference. And so we followed our theme for our conference with our panel experts. And so our panel experts in the area of wealth was financial advisor and financial literacy expert, Helen Crawley-Spann. She's an author, has several books out there. If you guys want to learn more about how to just be your best person in regards to your finances, Helen is an amazing person to read and to know. But she was on our panel, did an amazing job. Fran Harris did an amazing job. She's a WNBA alum, an author as well. And she also is an entrepreneurial expert. And so she was on our panel. In the area of wellness, we had WNBA alum Danielle Fontenot, who offered her insight through what she founded a program called Inner Works. And so she was just so insightful in reminding us just that we have to take care of ourselves first in order to take care of others. And we've heard those things a lot of times, but she has a great way to bring that forth and bring that out of us. And we did some exercises during the panel that were really, really fun. And in the area of winning, who none better than Natalie Williams, Olympic gold medalist, multi-sport champion at the NCAA level, WNBA alum, and now the general manager of the world champion WNBA Las Vegas Aces. And she was phenomenal as well. So to get everybody together, offer their insights. We played a few fun little games, interacted with our guests that attended the brunch, and it was a great time. And so what I want to encourage people to do, and we'll talk more about this moving on, is in your local areas, do these tall girl brunches. Contact us. We will help you to host brunches in your area. And we have an amazing executive team member. Her name is Nicole Lester, and you'll contact her and she'll give you the skinny on how to provide a brunch to get all the tall girls together in your area.
Listen, this is so great. Let me do this now and bring Lisa Lismore back in and finish the rest of the program with the three of us. And to me, that means with the two of you having a conversation and Al McFarlane just being a grateful listener, just checking, thanking both of you for the tremendous work you do in our community. Lisa, welcome back into the program. And Coach, let me ask you both to react to each other's presentations today.
So I'll start with Leah, if you don't mind, because Leah, to me, has always been a dreamer and a doer. And that I can't think of better words to describe you, because Leah would come to me as a young person just graduating college, if you will, and she'd have an idea and she'd walk it past me and say, what do you think of this? And I'm like, wow, I'm thinking to myself, like, wow, how many years? I don't know. I don't know how much older I am with the difference between our age, but nonetheless, there is a difference, at least not 6, 8 years or something like that. I can't remember, but I'm like, wow, I didn't think of that. And then the next thing I know, I would receive an invitation to come to whatever it is she was dreaming of. So when I say a dreamer and a doer, I truly do mean that. And I also, Leah, want to take this opportunity to thank you for the article that I read in Insight News about, the folks here in the community that are doing great things with their athletic abilities and those kinds of things and the sharing thereof. I mean, I really, someone actually had to send it to me and I was like, what? And then I saw the original paper and I was like, oh my goodness. So that I really like where you were going with that and hope that you continue it, because there are a lot of people that we don't always see out front that are still in the background doing great work. And Lynette Landry is one of those individuals that I mentioned earlier, an outstanding golfer in this community, but in my opinion, needs to be lifted up for what she has done with regard to that sport. So thank you, Leah Jean.
Unmute Leah. Unmute Coach Leah.
Always happens.
There we go.
Thank you. Thank you so much for that, Lisa. And you are most welcome. It's my absolute pleasure. And I absolutely will continue. The list is long. It truly is. And I've definitely add Lynette to that list, do some more research, do some more digging, ask you some more questions about her. But definitely it's one of those things where it's not necessarily about what we've accomplished on the court, on the course, or on the field, but what we've used those platforms to do to help elevate and get the attention of others who we know can help us perform greater works, for just and for a longer reach per se.
And you know what? You're so right. So Al, earlier when we talked about my work at the high school league and I indicated that I would try and bring people along, well, Leah has worked the girls basketball tournament with me. And so it's that type of thing. As soon as I was assigned to that tournament, all I did was think about all of the women that either played ball with me or those that were coming, because I watched Leah when she played in the state tournament. I watched her when she began to coach at Washburn. And I knew she would be someone great to have on my team to help, create a good, positive experience, at that basketball tournament. But I feel that is what I'm required to do. I have to do that. I can't, like you said, have a platform and not expand it to be more inclusive, in particularly of people that look like me that I know are very well capable of doing the job.
Yep, and then it's my job to take the baton and go. And I feel like I've done that. I feel like I'm going to continue to do that. I hear your voice in the back of my head. When I don't call you, please know that I still hear your voice, though. It's important for you to know that, because you've poured so many wonderful nuggets and gems in me. So I've got to share this with you, Lisa. If you'll recall, one of the first times I visited you at your office, and I think I don't even know if I've written about it yet, but I will. So the people in the conversation today, you're going to hear this first, but I arrived at Lisa's office and the receptionist had a picture of me in my uniform with a name label that said, "Welcome, Leah Frazier." And it was the most awesome thing to see. And it's something that I've held really close, because it's just those little things that are very high level professional things that people should do and can do. And it's easy. I mean, it was like, oh, let me just cut this out, put this on here. And it made all the difference, And so, those are things that I've adopted and that I've taught others to do, those little things and to celebrate the little things, because it makes the biggest difference. And so, I want to thank you for that, because I don't know if a lot of people understand how to truly be a professional in this space. in the space of
Mhm.
athletics, in the space of athletics administration, because so many have only done sports. They haven't
Mhm.
understood how to be a manager. They haven't understood how to be a business person. They haven't understood business acumen. And so to be able to parlay that, that is one of the reasons why you did such a phenomenal job in your role, and why so many people nationally know you and know your works. And quite honestly, when I'm able to name drop you, when I'm able to share that I'm from Minnesota, that speaks volumes, because people know you, they know your work, they know your level of professionalism. And so, congratulations on your retirement.
Thank you,
You're
girl.
probably more busy than you've ever been now, and I already know how that is. But I will be reaching out to you some more for some things. I've got to definitely have you as a featured guest on my newly coming podcast, After the Whistle. And but know that I appreciate you in more than you will ever know. No more, and the only way that I can ever continue to show you is by doing, and by having other young men and women behind me to be able to to achieve and exceed their dreams.
Well, Lisa, I mean, Leah, I appreciate that. And it's um, very gratifying to hear you say those kinds of things. Al, we talked about, you had asked me a question about a highlight in my career.
Mhm.
And I'll tell you, being on staff at the Minnesota State High School League and being able to connect with people nationally, and being in a space where I was able to witness the first African American to ever lead a high school association. And I can't remember the exact year, but I'm going to say it was in, the first part of the 2000 something or another, 2002, one, I don't know. But if you can believe that it took that long for a state high school association to be led by an African American person. Now, most people had on their staffs a woman and a person of color, but never have had a person to lead the organization. Also, during this time, I, witnessed and was able to connect with or friends with 3 women, African American women, who led state associations. And one is still in the lead in North Carolina. Her name is Q Tucker, and she's just a wonderful individual. But there was another sister that just stepped away from leading the Delaware High School Association, and another sister whose name is Rhonda, who is a runner and was just shy of making the Olympics as well. She ran the Colorado High School Association. In fact, she was the director for 2 associations. First, the Nebraska High School Association, and then she moved over to the Colorado High School Association. And we both retired last spring. And Rhonda's younger than I am, and so there's been a lot of progress on a national level, and there still are 2 brothers that are leading the the South Carolina High School Association,
Sure.
and the Oklahoma High School Association, and another brother that was
We
the
have to
director.
wrap it up. We have to
Okay.
wrap it up. We're out of
Yes.
time. Listen, this is
Yes.
so wonderful. I'm going to ask you to come back, Lisa, some more at some point. And Coach Leah, I want you to talk in the future. You touched on it, the question of equality and equity, women's athletics, women's pay for athletics, and what's going to change, and how will the work that you have created, go into leveling the future? Well, think about it. It'll be a great conversation. Let's bring some more people into it as well. I'm Al McFarlane. This is The Conversation with Al McFarlane. Thanks to Lisa Moore, to our sports editor, Coach Leah. We'll see you next time.